Sagittarius, urgent, your Father in heaven has a message of protection for you. Sagittarius, if you have found yourself here today, it is not by chance. It is a sacred appointment between your heart and the loving forces that have always watched over you. I invite you, just for a moment, to place your hand over your heart and take a slow, deep breath. Feel the quiet presence around you, the one that has never left, even in your loneliest hours. Today, a profound message arrives from your Father in heaven, a message of protection, healing, and the kind of love that knows no boundaries of time or distance. You once whispered a silent prayer into the unseen world, perhaps not even knowing if anyone heard it. But the truth is, every word, every tear, every silent hope has been cradled in a love so pure, it could only come from the divine. In this moment, allow yourself to receive what you have long deserved: reassurance, healing, and the remembrance that you are never alone. If this message touches your heart, I warmly invite you to like, share, and subscribe to our soul family here at Zodiac Wisdom, where we walk these journeys together with grace, compassion, and courage. Let's step forward now, Sagittarius, into the light that is calling your name. Gate 1: the hidden protection over your life. Sagittarius, throughout the winding paths of your life, you have carried more weight than you ever spoke aloud. In a world that demanded resilience yet seldom offered shelter, you learned to stand tall, sometimes without even realizing that an invisible force was holding you steady all along. Today, your Father in heaven reaches out through the delicate veil of the unseen to remind you, you have never walked a single step alone. From your first heartbreak to your quiet victories, from the nights when fear whispered louder than hope to the mornings when courage seemed like a distant memory, His hand has been upon your shoulder, not with loud declarations but with silent, unwavering love. You, the archer of the zodiac, born to aim high and journey far, have always been protected, not because you were flawless or fearless, but simply because you are cherished beyond measure. When you sent out those silent prayers into the dark, wondering if anyone heard, the answer was always yes. Every hope, every tear, every unspoken longing was gathered gently by a presence too great for words, a presence that watched over you even when you forgot how to believe. You may look back and wonder why some paths closed before you could walk them, why certain dreams seemed delayed, why some people left before you were ready to let go. But today you are being asked to see with new eyes. What you thought were losses were often shields. What you called delays were often divine detours away from storms you could not yet see. Protection does not always come dressed in obvious miracles. Sometimes it is hidden in the friendships that faded before they could wound you, in the jobs you lost before they could crush your spirit, in the relationships that ended just before they could strip you of your light. Your soul was never abandoned, Sagittarius. It was preserved, sheltered, held in sacred hands that knew your destiny was too precious to be tangled in things not meant for you. Even when your heart ached for answers, even when loneliness wrapped itself around your spirit, you were never unseen. You were cradled in a love so ancient, so steady, it could not be undone by distance or time. Your Father wants you to know today that nothing you endured was wasted. Every tear you cried in private, every quiet act of faith when no one was watching, every moment you chose compassion over bitterness, has been written into the eternal story of your soul. They are not forgotten. They are sacred. The battles you fought have not defined you by your scars but refined you by your strength, and your strength, Sagittarius, is the kind that comes not from hardness but from a heart that still chooses to love, still chooses to hope, still chooses to rise even when it would be easier to surrender. This season of your life is not about striving, not about proving your worth. It is about resting into the truth that you have always been worthy simply because you are. Your Father's protection has never been based on your performance. It has always been rooted in His unconditional love for the soul that you are. You do not need to outrun your tenderness, Sagittarius. You do not need to wear your resilience like armor anymore. You are allowed to rest. You are allowed to trust. You are allowed to be guided by a love that will never let you fall. Breathe that in now, deeper than before. Let it settle into the places where doubt still lingers. Feel the arms of heaven wrapping around you, not demanding anything, just offering peace. You don't have to carry the whole world anymore. You don't have to fear missing your destiny. The doors that are meant for you will open at the appointed time, not by force but by grace. And your Father in heaven is already unlocking them, already preparing the way. already guiding you toward a future richer and kinder than you have dared to imagine. If only you could see the full tapestry being woven around your life, you would understand why some threads had to be cut, why some patterns took time to emerge. Trust this, Sagittarius. Trust the love that has never left you. Not for a moment. You are being called now into a life no longer built on survival, but on abundance. Not on fear, but on profound belonging. And it is closer than you think. You are stepping into a chapter where you are no longer just protected. You are celebrated. Where your dreams are no longer just sheltered. They are set free. Stay open, stay tender. Your journey has only just begun. And the most beautiful part is yet to unfold. Gate to the soul's night and the silent awakening. There are nights, Sagittarius, when the world feels too heavy, when even your endless optimism flickers like a candle fighting against a cold wind. These are not the nights you speak of often. They are private places hidden deep within the caverns of your spirit, where doubt, fear, and silent exhaustion weave a fog around your heart. You have learned to be the brave one, the one who smiles and presses forward, even when the road beneath your feet feels uncertain. Yet tonight, your Father in heaven leans closer, not to demand more strength from you, but to offer you something far gentler, the permission to surrender. Not to give up, Sagittarius, but to lay down the weight you were never meant to carry alone. For so long, you have believed that you needed to be the one who figured it all out, the one who stayed strong for everyone else, the one who kept dreaming even when the dreams felt like distant stars. And yet, there is a deeper truth unfolding now. The nights when you felt the most lost were not signs of your failure. They were sacred invitations. Invitations to come closer to the silent, unwavering love that has never once turned its face away from you. It was in the silence, not the noise, that your awakening began. It was in the moments when no answers came that the roots of your soul were reaching deeper than ever before, anchoring into something more lasting than external certainty. Your Father in heaven has watched over you during these long nights, not impatiently, but with infinite tenderness. He saw the silent tears you never dared to cry aloud, the whispered questions you didn't know how to frame. And even when the heavens seemed quiet, even when the prayers seemed unanswered, he was rearranging the stars for you, setting the stage for a rebirth so profound that no force in this world could prevent it. I have seen it, Sagittarius, in so many souls who have come to me seeking answers. There was Anna, a kind-hearted artist who once sat across from me, trembling because her gallery dreams had fallen apart. She thought her failures had made her invisible to the universe. Yet just months after surrendering her broken dreams, a new opportunity emerged, one she could never have orchestrated on her own. And today her art lights up hospital walls, bringing healing to people who need it most. Or James, a once promising lawyer who broke down during a session as he spoke of losing everything: his job, his marriage, his health, all within the same brutal year. He thought he was being punished. Yet, in that very collapse, life gently pruned away what was not truly his. Today, James works with young men struggling with addiction, offering them hope rooted in his own hard-won compassion. Or sweet Marisol, who believed she had wasted her youth loving someone who never loved her back. She thought she was too broken to ever trust again. And yet, she learned to trust herself first, to rebuild her heart in small, sacred ways. Today, she is loved, not because she chased it, but because she became a woman who knew her own worth. Sagittarius, your story is being written with the same tenderness. You are not being punished. You are being prepared. You are not forgotten. You are being refined. Just like the arrow must be drawn back before it can soar forward, you have been held, pulled inward, deep into the silent chambers of your own heart, so that when you rise again, and you will rise, you will do so with a strength that no storm can shake. The dark night of the soul is not a tomb. It is a womb. A place where the old fears, the old patterns, the old wounds are being gently surrendered, so that something new, something luminous can take their place. You do not have to fear the darkness. You do not have to rush your healing. Trust that even in what feels like stillness, life is moving, miracles are unfolding, and the hand of your Father is weaving together a story greater than you can yet see. Somewhere within you, Sagittarius, there is a place that has never been wounded, never been broken, never been lost. A place that holds the pure song of your soul, untouched by betrayals, untouched by failures, untouched by the loneliness you have faced. That place is where your true awakening begins. It is not in becoming someone new, but in remembering who you have always been beneath the layers of survival. And now, slowly but surely, the awakening is happening. The numbness you once felt is giving way to a tenderness so profound it shakes you. The cynicism you once wore like armor is cracking open to reveal a hope that is more courageous because it has known despair and still chooses to believe. You are becoming yourself again, Sagittarius. Not the version you thought you had to be loved or accepted, but the pure, brave spirit you were always meant to be. There is nothing wrong with you for needing time. There is nothing broken about you because you doubted. Healing is not linear, and awakening does not happen with fanfare. It happens in the quiet decisions you make to keep loving, keep hoping, keep showing up for your own heart, even when the world gives you no reason to. Your Father in heaven has seen it all, and he smiles with a love so deep that it would undo you if you could feel it all at once. He is proud of you, Sagittarius, not for your achievements, not for your endurance, but simply because you kept your soul alive. You kept your light burning even when you were convinced it had gone out. And now, as the first soft rays of a new dawn approach, you are being called gently forward. Not to fight, not to prove, but to receive. To trust that the seeds you planted in tears are about to bloom in ways you could never have orchestrated on your own. To believe that the silent years were not empty, but full of unseen grace building momentum beneath the surface of your life. To know, deep in your bones, that your Father has never once forgotten the dreams you surrendered at the altar of patience. Every delay, every detour, every unanswered prayer has been woven into a masterpiece you are only just beginning to glimpse. And you, Sagittarius, are standing at the threshold. The night is ending, the dawn is breaking, and you are awakening, not just into a better version of life, but into the fullness of who you were always created to be. Gate 3, the sacred reunion of souls. Somewhere beyond the walls you built to protect your tender heart, Sagittarius, there is a place where true connection is waiting for you. A place not born from desperation or fear, but from the quiet recognition of two souls who have walked through their own nights and can finally meet in the light. For too long you may have wondered if real love, real friendship, real belonging were destined for other people, not for you. You convinced yourself that perhaps your dreams were too big, your heart too fragile, your spirit too restless to ever find a true home. But that was never the truth. The long journey you have walked was not to harden you but to prepare you for something sacred. A reunion with the kind of love that matches the fullness of who you are becoming. I have seen it unfold with my own eyes, Sagittarius, in the lives of those who once sat across from me, just like you, wondering if they were destined to walk this world unseen. There was Ethan, a world traveler who spent decades moving from city to city, never able to settle, always searching for something he could not name. He thought he was cursed to always be alone, but what he could not see then was that his journeys were preparing him for the moment when he would cross paths with a woman whose soul spoke the same silent language as his. Today they travel together not because they need to escape, but because they have found a home in each other's hearts. Or Maria, who came to me with tears streaming down her face, believing she would never be loved without conditions. She had spent years in relationships where she was asked to shrink herself to be acceptable. It took every ounce of courage she had to walk away from what was almost right but never enough. For a time she sat in the silence, wondering if love would ever find her. And then gently, almost imperceptibly, life led her to someone who saw her not as a project to fix but as a wonder to be cherished. Today Maria laughs in ways she thought she had forgotten, and every time she smiles she tells me, "It was worth the wait." Sagittarius, your Father in heaven wants you to know, you have not missed your destiny. You are not too late, too much, or too complicated to be deeply, wholly loved. The doors that were closed before were not punishments. They were protections, guarding your spirit until it was strong enough to recognize what real sacred connection feels like. You will not have to force it. You will not have to shrink or pretend. The souls destined to walk with you will find you, not because you chased them, but because you dared to stay true to yourself when it would have been easier to compromise. You are entering a season now where soul recognizes soul, where the light you carry will act like a beacon, calling forth those whose hearts were always meant to harmonize with yours. It may come through a new friendship that feels strangely ancient. It may come through a romantic love that feels both exhilarating and safe. It may even come through a community that embraces you not for your achievements but for your essence. However it appears, know this: it will not demand that you betray yourself. It will not require you to beg for scraps of affection. It will meet you where you are, with tenderness, with patience, with honor. You are not here to earn love, Sagittarius. You are here to receive it, to participate in the divine exchange of giving and receiving without fear, to allow yourself to be known, truly known, without hiding the softest parts of your heart, to build connections rooted not in need but in overflow, not in scarcity but in abundance. There will be moments when your old fears rise up, whispering that it is safer to stay guarded, safer to walk alone. When that happens, remember the truth your father has been weaving into your life all along. You are safe to love now. You are safe to hope now. You are safe to open your hands and your heart to the blessings that have been waiting patiently for you to be ready. This reunion of souls is not just about romantic love, Sagittarius. It is about your entire life expanding into deeper, richer authenticity. It is about reclaiming the lost parts of yourself that once settled for less because you thought that was all you could have. It is about living wide open, wide awake, connected not just to others but to the deepest truth of your own being. And when those souls begin to arrive, the friends who understand your silences, the love who stands steady even when life gets messy, the mentors and companions who lift you higher, you will realize that every lonely mile you walked was not wasted. It was shaping you. It was preparing you. It was aligning you with the sacred fullness you are about to receive. Sagittarius, the time of wandering without finding is ending. The season of sacred reunion is beginning. Walk forward with your heart open, not in fear but in reverence. The souls you are meant to walk with are closer than you think. And this time you will not have to question whether you belong. You will know it, deep in your bones, like the sure and steady light of dawn breaking after the longest night. Conclusion: a new dawn awaits you. Sagittarius, as you stand at the threshold of this new chapter, I invite you to pause for a sacred moment and honor the journey that has brought you here. Every tear you shed in silence, every prayer whispered into the dark, every choice you made to keep your heart alive when it would have been easier to close it, none of it was in vain. You have not just survived, you have been transformed. You are no longer carrying the weight of old fears, old patterns, or old loneliness. You are stepping into a season where protection, awakening, and sacred connection are no longer distant hopes but living realities. You are no longer wandering in search of a place to belong. You are becoming the home where love naturally arrives. From this day forward, walk with the quiet confidence that you are never alone. Your Father in heaven walks beside you, and the souls destined to join you are already making their way to your light. Trust that what is unfolding for you now is not random. It is the answer to prayers you forgot you even prayed. It is the fulfillment of promises made to your soul before you even arrived in this lifetime. If this message has touched your heart today, I gently invite you to like, share, and subscribe to our family here at Zodiac Wisdom. Together we hold space for each other's journeys, for each other's healing, for each other's awakening. You are never alone on this path. You are deeply loved, deeply seen, and deeply supported. And remember, dear Sagittarius, the most beautiful chapters of your life are not behind you. They are being written even now with light, with grace, and with a love that never ever lets go. Keep your heart open, because the dawn you have waited for is already breaking just beyond the horizon.